Yesterday, there was a report by Brian Lewis of the New York Post. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the show many times. He wrote, and quoted some sources as saying that Kyrie Irving wants to remain in Brooklyn with or without Kevin Durant. He said, the source said, look, Kyrie signed and he opted into his deal to play in Brooklyn. That says he wants to stay in Brooklyn. After opting into his deal, he did not request a trade. That says he wants to stay in Brooklyn. And so on top of that report that we talked about a bit yesterday, you and I, Brian Windhorst of ESPN said this morning on Get Up, here's a quote from him. The vibe that's coming out of Brooklyn right now, that they are prepared to keep Durant and Kyrie Irving into next season, or that is the vibe. This could be a negotiating position, or it could be a smart decision if you don't like the trade offers that you have. The market for Durant hasn't been as lucrative as the Nets were hoping, and the market for Kyrie is very thin. It's essentially the Lakers, all right? And that trade offer isn't very good. If you don't like what you have, you just sort of close ranks and look at restarting it. Ephraim Salaam, I ask you, do you think the smart thing for the Nets to do is to come back with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving next season and go for it?
Well, there's two answers for me. One as a Laker fan and then one as a sports analyst, right?
I bet they contradict themselves.
Of course they do. I mean, that's any fan who talks about sport knows what contradiction is, right?
Yes.
So the analyst in me says, you absolutely bring Kyrie and KD back to Brooklyn. And you make them play together the entire season. You make Ben Simmons get off the bench and come play because you're paying them to do it.
Yes.
Whether they want out or not, they're under contract. Kyrie must play well. This is a contract year for him.
Yep.
You want to make everybody forget about last year or this past season? You come out, you become an all-star, you get to the finals, right? Averaging your customary 26 and whatever, right?
Yep.
That's how you make everybody forget. Now that you got the offers on the table, right? So it's do or die for him as well. For KD, you got to suck it up. You wanted to come, you came. You wanted an extension, you got the extension. We got to play. Now, the Laker fan in me was like, I mean, I don't trust Kyrie, but I take Kyrie and LeBron over Westbrook. So I want them to make the trade. I want Westbrook to be in LA because at least we know that pairing works. Whether he's available all the games or not, but
for the 40-80 plays, it's going to work.
Right, exactly. So you could pick which side of the argument you want to live on, but they're both are very valid.
Well, look, I know you didn't want to put it this way, Mr. Laker, but the fact is y'all desperate.
Yes, very much so.
And if you don't get Kyrie, you don't have a chance to win the championship next year. Not a realistic chance. I mean, there's always the never say never. That's your chance. Never say never. But realistically, with Russ coming back, y'all have no chance. Your only shot, you won't be the favorites with Kyrie, but you'll be in the mix, and on paper, you'll be nice with those three. So that is why you want this deal to happen. I get that as a Lakers fan.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way, look, I've been saying this from day one. If I'm the Nets, I am bringing these two back, especially when I'm not getting good trade offers. I would have said this when Kevin Durant came to me with his trade request. Okay, KD, we respect you, and we respect your request. And we will see if there's something out there. Our first goal and our first priority is to do what's best for the team. And so we'll look, and we'll see what's out there. And if there's something that piques our interest that we think is good for the team, we'll bring it to you and your agent, and we'll start, working on it. We'll look and see what you think. But we're not going to promise anything. We think you're the best player in the league. And we think, to be honest, that with what we have on paper, we can win the championship, and you can lead us there. And so for now, we think you plan on being there at training camp. And if we get a good deal, we'll come to you and let you know. Like, that should be that. And the fact is, they've tried. And to be honest, Ephraim, if I'm KD, I don't want to use the term humbled. He might be humbled because the offers aren't maybe what he expected. But he should be a little bit upset that teams aren't willing to break. I mean, I hear Toronto don't want to give up Scotty Barnes, right? Miami doesn't want to break up their core. What's their core? I mean, we know what it is. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. It's not a world-beating core. Kyle Lowry. Phoenix quickly said no Devin Booker. Minnesota wouldn't have given up Anthony Edwards by himself for you, let alone him and Cat. And so I think Kevin Durant should be like, oh, y'all must have forgotten. What did he say when Patrick Beverley tried to challenge him a few years ago in the playoffs? And then he dropped, 50 on the Clippers, I think, after Beverley was running his mouth? Mm-hmm. He said, I'm Kevin freaking Durant. And he didn't say freaking. That's what I want KD to do. I want KD to go to the Nets tomorrow and say, you know what? Call a press conference, KD. Y'all must have forgot. I'm Kevin freaking Durant. And I am not requesting a trade. I'm coming back to Brooklyn with my boy Kyrie, with Ben Simmons, and we gonna do damage. Y'all gonna be sorry. You had a chance to get me. You should have taken it. I'm coming out with vengeance. That's what I want to see.
That all sounds good, and it's very animated. Reality of the situation is there's a breach of trust between he and Kyrie. I don't care what you say.
Well, that's the interesting thing that nobody's really figured out yet. Does he not want to play with Kyrie? Because, they put it out there. And I agree. They might have been doing that to just save the friendship because they still friends.
But just look at it like this, all right? Kyrie Irving opts in to his deal. Kevin Durant asks for a trade. Right? Make sense of that.
Well,
Kyrie Irving opted in. I'm coming back to Brooklyn. Kevin Durant says, I want to leave Brooklyn.
All right, here's what I'm going to say to you. Here's what I'm going to ask you. Because you're right. I mean, that was my initial thought. Wow. The day after or the day after?
It was very quick. It was either the day of, late day of, or the day after. Right. Like, I won out.
And that was my first thought. It's probably everybody's thought. And then it comes out that they want to play together, which obviously is a pipe dream. But that's what they want to play together when they go elsewhere. My point is this. That almost assuredly came from KD's camp. So if you're bold enough to request a trade the day or day after Kyrie opts in, obviously making it look like you don't want to play with him, why go through the shenanigans of releasing later, but he wants to still play with Kyrie? I mean, you could have just waited a few days after the opt-in and put a little distance between it before you opted out. So I've heard that there was tension definitely between the two, in that KD was like, yo, you kind of leaving me out here, when he wouldn't get vaccinated. But that they're still friends. It didn't destroy the friendship. They're out in L.A., or at least they were. I don't know if KD's still out there, but they've been out in L.A. working out together. Mm-hmm. So I've heard from some that he doesn't want to play with Kyrie. But here's the thing. If the option And the only option, if you stay in Brooklyn, it appears like the only option besides Kyrie is Westbrook. Because that's the only guy you can trade for.
He definitely don't want to do that. But,
Right.
but I tell you this, Chris, you have friends right now that you're friends with, but you know y'all
Yes.
couldn't work together.
Absolutely.
You know that it doesn't change the friendship,
Absolutely.
right? But you know, Paul, man, he be tripping. Like
I got guys I'm thinking of right now.
right now, everybody does. Everybody does. So it's not to indict. It's not to make an indictment of their friendship. I got friends right now that I know I can't work for or work with. It'll never happen. That doesn't make them any less my friend. It's just like, look, we tried. It didn't work out for whatever reason. You do you, I'm going to do me. We just not going to do it together.
Well, KD needs to give Kyrie 1 year. To your point, and you are right on the money. And there are a lot of people saying, when I say this, well, yeah, you thinking logically. You can't assume Kyrie's going to think logically. Well, maybe. But if Kyrie ever wants a bag again, he got to do exactly what you said, Ephraim. He got to come out and not only play well, but show up on time, be professional, be a good soldier, a good teammate, all of that. And even then, there's no guarantee he's going to get that bag. Because a lot of teams will look at it like, yeah, he's under contract year. You know what I mean? He's just doing that to get the bag. What's he going to do when he's got a 4-year deal? So, but his best shot is to straighten up and fly right. So I'm with you on that, Ephraim. But yeah, I think they should run it back. And I think this, Ephraim, if they run it back, because right now, as we know, Kevin Durant has gotten a ton of pushback from yours truly and others, and you, actually, for all of us, on this trade request, because it ain't right. But if he gives it 1 year, and they either aren't good enough, Ben Simmons can't get back on the court, or tries and just collapses or whatever mentally, and Kyrie is still pulling the same old stuff, and then after next season, Kevin Durant is like, yo, I gave it a try, y'all. I'm about to be 35 years old.
Look,
I want to win another championship, and this obviously isn't the place to do it. He will get praised at that point.
Remember coming to America?
Yes.
Right? Remember Hakeem, they go see the apartment.
Yes, the little place they live.
Right,
yes.
and they getting ready to go up the stairs, and the dude fall down the stairs. And he said, I ain't falling for that falling down the stairs.
Right.
Stuff no more. Rent's due so-and-so. Right?
Right.
Kevin Durant's not falling for the falling down the stairs thing again, okay? And rent is due. That's why he wants out.
Well, look, he need to one in. He need to check himself one in. Like you said, look in the mirror and give it one more shot. All right.